With our very own Mike Klis, the NFL and Broncos reporter for the Denver Post. Mike, how are you?
Good. You hear me okay?
Can hear you fine. So what do you think? Good move if Elway gets DT signed long term?
Yeah, I think so. Although what's going to make it difficult, guys, is the franchise tag number this year is lower than what the Broncos offered. And even when he gets that 20% bump next year, his two-year total will be his two-year tag total will be less than what the Broncos are proposing. So it's going to be difficult to sign him because of what he's asking for. He's asking for Calvin Johnson $16 million a year. I don't think he's going to get that.
Well, then in theory, if he were to get that, but what I was saying, Mike, and tell me if I'm wrong, that if you sign him to a long-term contract and you give him a bonus up front, that would free up some money to sign some other free agents.
Yeah, next year going forward, this year's budget is pretty well taken up. It would seem on cash, and in fact, if they did sign him long-term, what cash they have, that would probably be eaten up by what you just said, the signing bonus. It would take a large signing bonus in order to appease Demaryius Thomas on this long-term deal. I really think, guys, that this is headed for, and I'm sure Demaryius won't be pleased for me to say this. I would not be surprised if this is a rare case because, again, the franchise tag is lower than the offer, which is unusual. I wouldn't be surprised if Demaryius Thomas is tagged for 2 consecutive years.
Yeah, well,
it's an option. We know that. Mike, you've had some great news. I mean, breaking news about the Broncos over the last couple of days from the owners' meetings. Congratulations on that. I mean, the Roby thing, possibly playing safety. Let's deal with that first. They want to get him on the field. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. And, I was surprised. I think Woody mentioned Kayvon Webster possibly being the corner going to safety. And that certainly makes some sense because Webster's bigger and is a real good tackler as a physical type player. But as you said, Les, this is about getting Bradley Roby on the field. He's one of their better defensive players, probably their third best defensive back. The problem is he's also their third best cornerback behind Talib and Chris Harris. So how do you get your third best defensive back on the field? You give him another position to play. And I don't know if what would be interesting, the fallout from that is, does that mean less TJ Ward? Does that mean less Darian Stewart, who they just signed, gave a nice little $1.5 million signing bonus? That would be interesting. I still think it's an experimental type deal that they're going through. I think you will see Roby playing some safety in OTAs in the minicamp. It's still a little early to say he'll be out there game one against whoever they play, but it is something that they are seriously considering.
Mike, I want to second what Les said. Some really good stories about Kubiak talking about his relationship. You had John Elway, and this has been a good week for you. And I know you're not staying in the Biltmore because when I went to NFL meetings there, they made us stay in a crappy hotel down the street. Is that still true?
I'm not even down the street. I'm at a Fairfield Inn. It should be 15 miles, but I tell you, traffic in Phoenix since I was down here in spring training back in the day, the traffic in this city is unbelievable this week. The rates were outrageous, and so it's been a little tough go, but we're trying to hold down that budget line for the Denver Post. No problem.
It was so funny when I saw your story this morning. It said Broncos expect to sign DT by the end of the summer, and I went, man, that's a lot of heavy headline for they're going to sign a third string defensive tackle by the end of the summer. So I got it totally wrong that's what the story was about. But is there are you squeezing another drop out of the NFL because of the rule changes they've made? League wide, what are your reactions to what the league has done?
Really, the big news today, guys, is, and I talked to Joe Ellis about this, and he told me in no uncertain terms, the extra point's going to change. I think and it's going to change in 2015. What they're going to do is they're going to move the ball to the, let me try to hold my hand straight, 1.5-yard line if you want to go for the 2-point conversion, or 15-yard line if you want to kick the extra point. But you're going to have the option, one or the other. Pete Carroll has proposed going for 2 every time. And, of course, we all know he has a lot of play calls up his sleeve from there. But they said the 1.5-yard line for this reason. The 1 is too short because they think there'll be a lot of quarterback sneaks, Joe Flacco jumping over the line, running backs jumping over the line, and there'll be too many disputed calls on whether they broke the plane. And so that's why they said not the 1. An extra half-yard they think will entice coaches to go for 2. My problem with this proposal, guys, is if you move it back to the 15 on the extra point, all right, Peyton Manning leads the team down the field against the Chicago Bears and John Fox at Soldiers Field. It's now 28-27 with 3 seconds to go. Here comes Connor Barth for a 33-yard extra point to tie the game, and he misses. Do we really want outcomes of NFL games decided on missed extra points, which I think is going to happen? You're going to have more outcomes of games on missed extra points if you move that back to the 33. Pete Carroll, I guess if they're going to change it and they want to take away the fact that this is no longer a football play, it's an automatic play. They want to add some suspense. If they want to do that, I'm for Pete Carroll's idea and having them go for 2. Also with that, guys, the defense, like in college, is going to have a chance to return the 2-point conversion. And I can still see Greg Biekert zigzagging across the field at Folsom Field to tie Nebraska 22-22 back in whatever it was, 1990 sometime. But the defense can now return a block kick, an interception, a fumble for a 2-point play.
Hey, Mike, we're hearing all the right things from Gary Kubiak and Peyton Manning and John Elway about how Gary Kubiak and Peyton Manning will be able to integrate whatever Gary Kubiak offense he comes up with. It will integrate Peyton's strengths into that offense. But now, the last day or two, tell me if I'm reading between the lines right. Kubiak is having a little trouble figuring out exactly how to integrate Peyton into Gary's offense. Are they going to be okay?
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it will be a problem for them. They don't think it's going to be a problem. They're not telling me it's going to be a problem. I'm saying, as a reporter, I know what Gary Kubiak likes to do. I know what Peyton Manning likes to do, and I think there's conflict there. And you guys see the same thing. Under center. Peyton Manning doesn't like that snap from under center. He likes to be in the shotgun. I've said this, I think the compromise is the pistol, because you can still have the running back behind the quarterback instead of on the side as it is in the shotgun. And Peyton still has a few steps back from center, which I think at 39 years and 1 day old now, he needs a little bit of a cheat. He needs some cheat steps to get back there in the pocket. So I think that's the compromise there. It'll be interesting to see the pace of the game. Kubiak likes to huddle up. Manning likes to get right to the line and not necessarily hurry up, but get to the line so the defense can't change personnel and he can look them over and then call the play. Kubiak likes to call the play. Kubiak likes to run more than Manning prefers. So there's going to have to be some give and take. What Kubiak was saying is, look, Peyton Manning has this skill set. It'd be dumb for him to take away what he does best. So it will be interesting to see. Kubiak intimated that he would bend more than he would ask Peyton to bend. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out of, what comes out of this, what offense. I think it'll be fluid, guys. Last year their offense changed midseason. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a week-to-week thing, depending on their opponent, the type of offense the Broncos run this year.
We've all sort of buried the lead here, and you're now talking about Payton and Kubiak. Reading your piece, it seemed to me like, because we've had the debate here about whether or not Brock should start a game or two next year against Cupcakes, the Oakland Raiders coming to town, who are not really Cupcakes anymore, I guess, but of making sure Brock got into real live business time, maybe in the first half for a series, or that at least Payton would come out as he should have in the game where Brock kind of tossed his helmet. Did your story sort of indicate that they want to rest Payton in games, or is that just during the week, during the leading up to the game?
Yeah, during the week. And I know the headline, which I had them correct, by the way. I had them correct. The headline said Payton's place may be on the bench.
Yeah,
And that was from, he may take some meetings off. And Kubiak was using this example of Elway in the last few years. More workouts, somehow, some way they got to look at Brock, whether it's the preseason, whether it's practice, maybe in games where Payton would play to the end. I mean, the Super Bowl, Payton took every snap. That, in a blowout loss. That won't happen this year. They've got to figure out somehow how to get a better evaluation on Brock Osweiler. And, to go in the season, Peyton Manning's job is not on the line here. It's not a serious competition. I would say, though, and I'm speculating here, that if Peyton starts off the season playing like he did at the end of last year, I think that maybe the Broncos will have some discussions about getting Brock Osweiler ready. I'm making a little bit of a jump there. I didn't put that in the story. But, I do think that this team is at a quarterback crossroads because Peyton is A, 39, and Brock, B, has his contract up after this year. It's really not a good situation quarterback-wise as you look at 2016. They got a big decision to make, and that decision has to be made this year in 2015.
Hey, Mike, are you blogging at all today from the NFL owners meetings?
I have been, yes.
All right, great. So they can find you at denverpost.com and your and your Twitter handle?
It's the real original at Mike Klis.
Hey, that works.
And the other thing, Mike, are you going to go down the street and go see your old team?
I'm going to try. I'm not going to have time today unless they have a night game, but I do want to go to walk. I know they're not at Walking Stick tomorrow, unfortunately. I was planning on seeing them tomorrow. But I want to, more than the Rockies, I haven't been to Walking Stick yet. And, I've heard.
Well, let me help you out, Mike. It's Talking Stick. It's not Walking Stick is what you're going to need in about 4 years, but their place is Talking Stick.
Well, after that goof, maybe I need that walking stick a little sooner.
You could end up where Edwin Jackson ended up.
I've done worse, guys. I've done worse.
Hey, Mike, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. We'll be reading you, all right?
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Mike Klis of the Denver Post covers the Broncos and the NFL.